Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network, Saturday, March 26th. It's Ian Cameron from San Antonio, Texas. We like to thank Pub Sports Radio, Jose Bouquet, allowing me to use the studio for the next few days. I would say 5 shows. I'll be doing on the show Saturday through Wednesday while I am in town, and looking forward to doing the show right here from the wonderful palatial Pub Sports Radio studios in Southtown 101. Very great place, by the way. It's been a fun 2 days already, and I'm sure we got plenty more still to come. Ian Cameron, joined as always on a Saturday and a Sunday, our weekend warrior on the Ice Guys, if you will. Vito joining us. Vito, how are things with you today?
I'm okay. Well, you're looking fancy there, new studio, looking all great. Yeah, for me, well, if you look at the betting perspective, last 2 days not so great. So, but here we are on the weekend. I know, well, how far I remember, we always do great on weekends when we together with Ian here. So yeah, looking to turn around my game here.
We are indeed. Let's get to it. We'll start the card. It's a huge card. We're going to try to get through it in an hour or so. That's how much time we've got. So we'll try to go through this at a brisk pace. We've got the New York Islanders taking on the Boston Bruins. This game's starting in about half an hour from now. We've got the Bruins minus 180, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Look, Vito, they're playing good hockey right now, Boston. There's no question about that. It was a big matchup with them in the Tampa Bay Lightning a couple of nights ago. They got a nice 3-2 victory in that game. There's no doubt Boston, I think, playing some of their best hockey right now. The addition of Hampus Lindholm is a big deal for the blue line. We know it definitely makes them better, more potent in terms of the blue line depth defensively. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here against the Islanders, who, for a team, Vito, that's way out of the playoffs, the New York Islanders, they're still playing with pretty solid effort right now. Their game is certainly trending up as well. The question is going to be, are they going to be able to handle this red-hot Bruins team? It looks like it's going to be Semyon Varlamov in net for the Islanders. Linus Ullmark confirmed as the goalie for the Boston Bruins here. We've got certainly an interesting early start affair. I really don't have a whole lot on this game other than maybe this game could stay under. Boston, to me, now with Lindholm, Vito, I think they're better defensively. I think they're better in terms of keeping the puck out of their own net. You look at what the Bruins have done here during this stretch of 6-1 in their last 7 games. 2 goals allowed to Winnipeg, 2 goals allowed to Montreal, 2 goals allowed to Tampa Bay with Lindholm now on the team. I definitely think that this team's defensive game is definitely trending in the right direction. And after all of those Islander overs, for a few weeks ago, all of a sudden they're reverting back to that under style, that lower scoring style of hockey that the Islanders are famous for under Barry Trotz. You're certainly seeing them, doing a better job keeping the puck out of their own net. They have held each of their last 5 opponents to 2 goals or less. So much better defensive hockey lately from the Islanders. Bruins definitely have been trending under. So don't have a bet on the side. Boston, I don't really want to step in front of Boston. But do I want to lay minus 180? No. If anything, I'll lean under. Vito, what do you think here? Islanders, Bruins.
Yeah, well, I want to start with, we have to see if Bergeron will be in. I think he will be in because I see him in my lineups here. So
yes, he's playing. He's in today for Boston.
Yeah. All right. That's addition definitely for Bruins, a big center man. And yeah, well, if we just look, this is the 3rd game for Bruins, I think, on this weekend. So not so much fatigue for them. Islanders will play Tampa Bay tomorrow. So that's why I think we're going to see Varlamov. Actually, I don't see him confirmed. I only see Ullmark confirmed for Bruins. And well, but yeah, here, the price tag which we see on the Bruins, I don't think that's a reasonable price tag. With the Islanders still is a capable team to play with any good team in any NHL on any given night. So obviously leaning Bruins, they're on a 3-game winning streak, so yeah, they're playing much better. Leaning Bruins, but don't want to take this price tag, so I will just stay off of the game because I think that actually Islanders are like undervalued here.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a little too pricey for me with Boston. I don't want to fade Boston, but yeah, minus 180, even regulation line, not worth it in my mind. All right, we got Tampa Bay, Detroit, Lightning, minus 270, road favorite, 6.5 the total. in this game. This is another early start in about half an hour from now. What's wrong with the Lightning? You don't usually see them go 2-6 in a stretch of 8 games at any point during the season. And right now, that is the issue we have with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And obviously, they've lost 3 in a row, albeit they've lost 3 in a row to pretty good teams, good competition. New York Rangers, Carolina, Tampa Bay. And now you're going to end up taking a big step down in class here against this Detroit Red Wings team. You would think this is the day, Vito, for Tampa Bay to get rolling, exert some frustration, take some frustration out on somebody. This you would think in theory is the spot for Tampa Bay to bust out, get off the schneid, you snap this losing streak and get back in the win column. Problem is, I don't want to lay minus 230 to do it. Actually, the price is dropping steeply now because they're reacting to Brian Elliott being confirmed as the goaltender here for the Tampa Bay Lightning in this early game. So that's always going to get people to bet the over. That's always going to get people to bet against Tampa whenever Elliott's in net. And that's unfortunate because, the guy's actually not played that poorly. His last 4 starts, 3-1. 2.01 goals against average. He's played very well. They've played very well in front of him as well. So I don't think this is one of those situations where, it's Brian Elliott in the net, let's just bet Detroit now all of a sudden. I'm not going to take Detroit. I think it's a good bounce back spot for Tampa. And if anything, wait till minutes before puck drop in like 20 minutes from now, right before the game starts, you'll probably get the best price on Tampa if you like the money line, regulation line, puck line. I'm going to look more toward Tampa's team total. That's the way I'm betting this. Minus 145, Tampa Bay Lightning, over 3.5, their team total. I think they get to 4 goals. I think most teams get to 4 goals these days against the Detroit Red Wings. We've talked about how horrible they've been in terms of keeping the puck out of their own net. We saw the Islanders light them up for 5 goals just a couple of nights ago. They gave up 4 to Seattle, 7 to Edmonton. It looks like a mirage that they shut out Vancouver in that game 1-0. It certainly looks that way. But, right now, I think for me, Tampa Bay team total over 3.5. I did lock that in. That is the only bet I have. Obviously, people are interested in the over 6.5 as well because Elliott's in. All I'll say is be careful. You got a guy that's got a 2.01 goals against the last 4 starts. I think they're going to want to play well for him, try to, play solid, good in their own end for this goalie today for the Lightning. And he's played better than a lot of – Brian Elliott's not some garbage goaltender. Let's get that straight. This guy's a veteran NHL goaltender, tons of starts, tons of wins in this league. He knows how to come in a backup role and especially want to play well, knowing his team has obviously lost 3 in a row. So that's why I'm looking more team total rather than full game with the over here. With I'm going to go toward the team total over 3.5 with Tampa. What do you think, Vito? Tampa, Detroit?
Yeah, well, for this game, guys, to be honest, I think the best value you might find actually in game. I can see Red Wings maybe scoring first, who knows? Then you can get a value on Tampa. But yeah, overall, I think Tampa should win this game. It's just not value on the type Tampa at the moment. I can see definitely over as well here because of how Red Wings been playing, not because of Brian Elliott in the net. I mean, not Brian Elliott. Oh, his name is. Wait a second. What's his
Brian
name?
Elliott. Brian Elliott.
All right, Brian. Yeah,
got it right.
Elliott. I mean, teams can play well in front of a backup. I mean, and we have seen some great backups this season. Well, and Elliott hasn't been that bad. We saw Comrie playing yesterday. Good. There's some good backups in the league. So yeah, and I mean, also if you play for Tampa, you should play good even as a backup. It's a great team. So, but yeah, if we just see how Red Wings are playing, they're playing. Then not so old team. They're a pretty young team, right? Not so big experience. They are not in a Devils level because Devils are much better offensively, and also maybe overall. But yeah, they're a little bit like Devils, I think they can generate some scoring chances, especially now when the Red Wings also are on the losing streak, guys. They have they lost last one against the Islanders, then they won against Flyers, but all those games have went over 5-2, 6-3, 4-2. So they cannot really keep the defense tight. I mean, that was lucky game against Vancouver Canucks. I mean, that was something which I don't understand how that can happen. I mean, that was
it's
crazy.
Hockey. That's how it can happen. It's hockey.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is what it is. Well, it's hockey. Yeah, exactly. You say right. But yeah, and from Tampa side, I mean, they need some game to explode, I think. 3 losses in a row. We have seen how Tampa actually bounce backs usually against these lower tier teams. If they lose some game, they can usually bounce back hard against lower tier teams, like who put up 7 goals. So I think we're gonna see goals here in this game. But yeah, I think the value is to play this in game, definitely live.
All right. Yeah, that's always a good decision at this time of year. You got bigger favorites. You're going to want to maybe wait till there's something that opens up in game from a value standpoint. That's just the way it is. I mean, you're going to obviously not be able to find the value pregame. So that's why the value of the betcast that we do every Tuesday night for the Ice Guys, it shows you just the kind of good betting opportunities and better value you can find sometimes in game. All right, Chicago and Vegas next up. This is the last afternoon game. The rest of the games are at night on this card. We've got Chicago, Vegas. Vegas minus 180 to minus 185. Home favorites, 6 the total. This is your ABC game, nationally televised here, the Blackhawks and the Golden Knights here in this one. Vegas looks like a totally, even with all the injuries, and the injuries haven't gone away, Vito. The injuries travel with Vegas, and the injuries return home with Vegas. And yet somehow this team looks different home versus road right now, even with all the injuries. Like, it's not like they got anybody back when they played Nashville on Thursday. They didn't get anybody back. But all of a sudden, they turn around from a terrible stretch of games on the road and they crush Nashville at home 6-1. I mean, where did that come from? It was essentially Vegas has done that at home now repeatedly. You look at each of their last 3 games at home. They beat Nashville. They beat LA. They beat a very good Florida team with all these injuries. They take all these injuries with them on the road and they can't do shit. It's one of the most bizarre things that I've seen here in a while. And look, it's still the same guys out. I mean, it's Nick Hague, Brett Houghton, Zach Whitecloud, Alec Martinez, Braden McNabb, Max Pacioretty, Riley Smith, Mark Stone. They're not getting anybody back today. It's that same group of players that are still out for the Golden Knights. And Laurent Brossoit is now day-to-day as well for the Golden Knights. So they already don't have Leonard. Laurent Brossoit is dealing with some kind of issue. He wasn't in the lineup the other night. It was Logan Thompson in net. I would think you're going to see Logan Thompson here this afternoon. I have no reason to doubt that, especially if Brossoit is not 100% from a health standpoint. And he's played good. He's played definitely a lot better lately. Logan Thompson, rather. He's played solid in net. He's a young kid. He said he wants to improve, get better. There was one game where he was not very happy and he was very outspoken about how poorly he played. And really, ever since then, he's been a lot better in net for Vegas. Chicago rolls in here with Kevin Lankinen starting. He's actually played okay the last couple starts, but I got to lean over the total here in this game because we're seeing Vegas struggle offensively, play bad, especially in the lack scoring goals on the road. And then at home, they become a machine, offensively, in spite of all the injuries. Like, it's been with all these injuries, and they've scored 6 at home against Nashville. In their last 2 home games before that, they put up 5 on LA. They put up 5 on Florida. So they have scored 16 goals in their last 3 home games. Yet they go on the road, they get shut out. Back-to-back games by Minnesota and Winnipeg. So can you explain this Vegas team? I mean, like I say, it's not like they take the injuries with them on the road. The doctor just magically sprinkles some pixie dust on them, and all of a sudden they're healthy at home. They're not. They're still injured. They're still without all the guys at home that they've been without on the road. And yet at home, they look like a totally different team here, Vegas, these last 3 games. So it is one of the most bizarre things I've seen. I'm probably just going to rock with over the total. I wouldn't hate a Vegas team total, but I think Chicago can contribute. Chicago scoring, Taylor Radish, we said it the other day. Taylor Radish goal scorer props are value right now. He got on the scoreboard against Anaheim. He's going to get minutes. He's going to get opportunity. This is a player that, unfortunately, because Tampa Bay is so deep, he couldn't get the minutes he probably should. Now he's going to get those minutes here in Chicago. So definitely keep your eye on that. Taylor Radish. You can bet, Strome, I've been betting a lot. DeBrincat, Kane. You can never say that those are bad prop bets, but I think the value is Taylor Radish right now for the Chicago Blackhawks. So the over 6 is probably the bet I'd go with here in this one. What do you think here, Vito? Blackhawks, Golden Knights.
Yeah, well, talking about Golden Knights, I mean, those 2 games against Wild and Jets. Against Jets, I think Knights even, of course, deserved the win, obviously, man. And it was like 17-4 shots in first period. And at one moment, it was like 25-6 or something shots in that game. So, yeah, Golden Knights were dominating that game. Jets ended up winning that game. And obviously, the Golden Knights come home and beat Nashville Predators 6-1. So, they've been putting up a lot of expected goals. One thing for Vegas Golden Knights, and with this, they banged up team. A lot of injuries since the pressure. All these Pacioretty, Stone, they are out, and they've been out for the long actually time. They whole season they've been in and out. It's not like they've been healthy for a long time. So this Vegas team kind of should be used to already to play kind of banged up. So and Eichel, I mean, this guy at one point he will also, I think, start to play better a little bit. Well, does it happen now? I'm not sure. Well, the Dadonov thing is also a bizarre thing, and he actually comes back and scores. So that guy also is good. So yeah, well, I'm looking to fade actually this Blackhawks team. But now I think they won. Let me check. Has won. Yeah, so give me a second. Yeah, won the last. No, this is not right. Here we go. Yeah, they won the last two meetings against Ducks and Kings. And the last meeting against Kings, they were outplayed. I mean, they stole that game, I think, at the penalties. Yeah, 46 shots to 31. I mean, Kings just dominated there. So what usually happens with the teams on the road when they stall the game, they go into the next game and they lose that game. So for me, I will go with the money line and puck line bet here for Vegas Golden Knights. Even with a banged up squad, I think they have to go on their winning streak and get him back in the playoff zone.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. It's not like Chicago is trustworthy to beat good teams right now. And it's not like Vegas hasn't played well at home. This is where they've gotten the job done. 3 straight home wins, even with all the laundry list of injuries they're dealing with right now. So I would only look Vegas as well in this one. Just a little too pricey for me, but Vito's going to lock it in here. Vegas with the money line, puck line split here in this matchup. All right, New Jersey, Washington. We've got the rest of the games are at night. New Jersey, Washington, Capitals minus 180, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. I like the game over the total. I've already bet. This is one of the first bets I made. Over 6 minus 120. It's up to minus 125 in a lot of spots, and now some books have moved this to 6.5. So if you like the over, as I do, bet this sooner rather than later. With me, Washington over, and I cashed a ticket yesterday with Washington Buffalo over the total. I've been riding the Caps overs right now because their offense has come to life. They've done a really good job finding the back of the net repeatedly here in recent games. They're getting a nice balanced effort right now at that end of the ice. They scored 4 against Buffalo. They scored 4 against Carolina. They had the 7 against Columbus, and even the games where they lost, St. Louis and Dallas, they gave up goals. So that's definitely going to help the over. And back and forth they go between Ilya Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek. And look, Vanacek, I'd expect him to be in net tonight. I believe it was Samsonov last night, but Vanacek's been a little bit more down than up the last couple starts. He had a really good run. He's kind of tailed off here the last couple. You can always trust New Jersey probably to give up some goals. They're usually going to do that in most games. Oddly enough, they played a pretty decent defensive game against Toronto, I would say. I get decent, not great, but decent. You hold the Leafs to 3 goals. You're actually doing something right. A very rare under for New Jersey in that game. But I think you'll see Washington find the back of the net back to back. I actually think New Jersey as a dog is not a bad option here in this one. I really believe that. I mean, I just think Washington minus 180 right now. And we've seen these spots where Washington, when they play, a below average team or a team from the other conference, from the Western Conference, that it's not a rivalry. They're not battling with that team for positioning. Those are the games they fall flat. Those are the games I find Washington sometimes loses. They lose to Dallas. They lose badly to St. Louis. This is one of those trouble spots, those worry spots that I have for the Washington Capitals. And the one thing about New Jersey, 1-4 their last 5 games. The only win was that crazy game against the Rangers. They got behind and then they exploded in the second period of that game. They have struggled to win games, but they were right there with the Leafs. I think that's a good sign. I think they've got a shot here, and that's all I need considering it's plus 160 now with the Devils here at an underdog price. So I'm going to have a smaller flyer type of bet on New Jersey plus 160. I wouldn't argue with what Jay Stone's saying in the chat with the team total, and I do like over the full game here. 6.5. Shop around. There are 6s, but they're disappearing quickly. What do you think, Vito? Devils, Capitals?
Yeah, well, if you look just at Devils, I mean, the mentality when you go to play out against the Leafs, I think, is to shut down their offense. just to not allow the goals. And I mean, you will find the back of the net against the Leafs anyways during the third periods because they cannot hold the D good. So yeah, that game could stay under. And here, I don't think they're gonna go without this mentality today to defend the Caps offensively. They're gonna go out and I think play the same Devils hockey here. And if we just look from the Caps side, I backed the Caps yesterday against the Sabres. I mean, they dominated the first period. It ended up 3-3, which is not good for me, obviously. And the concern is the goaltending. Definitely, they've been going back and forth. I mean, they're not bad goalies. They can play, but they're not consistent goalies. So you don't know when it's going to be a bad night for Samsonov or Vanacek, So hard to back also this Caps team on the back-to-back with the flight here with minus 180. Cannot see them as this price. Well, I cannot see them. Yeah, I can see Chicago. I'm sorry. Devils definitely putting up some goals. Maybe definitely if Devils over 2.5 is available, I think that's a great look in this game. I think that could cash. I think this game goes over. I mean, at 6 you should go take that one because if one game doesn't go over for Devils, I don't think that means that they start to play unders now. You just see how the team plays. One game doesn't change their style of game. Summer break, can change maybe how the game goes for team or the coaching change, but here is just one game, which doesn't mean a lot. I think this game goes over. I think I would agree with Devils as a live dog and Devils over 2.5 goals. I think if that is available, that's a great look.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams to score first period. Yep. That's something I might tack on a little bit. Before the New Jersey-Toronto game, New Jersey was really going first period overs, or first period both teams to score quite a bit, especially on that road trip. Not so much. I think the Ranger game, Rangers did all the goal scoring in the first, and then we had 0-0, which was shocking after the first period against the Devils and the Leafs the other night. But I think there's a good spot maybe to look at that first period, both teams to score at a plus price in this game. That did cash last night with the Capitals and Sabres. That game was 1-1 after the first period. So if you took that first period, both teams to score in that game, you would have won it. So I lean that way too. All right, Vancouver, Dallas minus 145 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this one. Vancouver's shown a little bit of life the last couple games, more than a little bit of life. You play Colorado, you beat them, you pull a big upset there, 3-1, and then you take Minnesota to overtime and lose 3-2 on a back-to-back. One of my losses Thursday was Minnesota in regulation. I thought that they won the game, but unfortunately, they won it in overtime against Vancouver there in that game. But no, their effort's been a lot better lately. We'll give them some credit for that. Can they keep it going here against Dallas? We'll see. Dallas has won 3 in a row, including a big shootout win for them against Carolina. Scott Wedgwood making the start for the Stars, his first start for them since coming to the team from Arizona. He was magnificent, absolutely terrific. Nothing else you can say about it. If he made 44 saves on 47 shots. His brilliance is the reason they ended up winning that game the other night. So give him credit for that. You'd think Rick Bowness would try to ride the hot hand here. I'd expect it to be Wedgwood again, but it's not. They're going to go back to Jake Ottinger here, which makes sense. Jake Ottinger, long-term Jake Ottinger's your guy. Long-term Jake Ottinger's the better goalie. There's no question about that. And he's your number one guy. They've committed. They said, we're going to start him in all the games that matter down the stretch as we try to fight for our playoff lives. So it's not surprising to see Ottinger in net. Demko for Vancouver in this one. It's funny because going into the Colorado game, Bruce Boudreau was talking about, we've really got to learn how to be a lot tighter to the vest in terms of our style of play, be strong and better in our own end. And sure enough, each of the last 2 games have gone under the total. So I would actually lean under a little bit here with the Canucks and the Stars. And you've got Demko, who's the best goalie for Vancouver, obviously. And you've got Jake Ottinger, who's played outstanding lately. So I would lean under. The side's tricky for me. I'm never comfortable laying $1.45 with Dallas. And you look at some of the situations where they've been bigger favorites, Vito. Montreal, they were minus 160 favorites. They barely won that game. It's one of many examples. Dallas doesn't make it comfortable on you when you're going to lay a price with them. So it's probably a pass for me. What do you think here, Vito? Vancouver, Dallas?
Yeah, well, Dallas always plays some tight games. I think that's their style of the game, They're the team which tries to get in the playoffs, I think that's their target. Doesn't matter how they get in the playoffs, and then they can make some noise usually. Well, we have seen them making some noise in playoffs. But yeah, if we just look, I mean, this Dallas team, yeah, they're a little bit tough schedule. I mean, because they're traveling a lot. Like they played Oilers, and then they at home, then they played in Carolina. Now they play at home. Then they go to Anaheim, play 2 games. Well, basically.
Oh, it's a ridiculous schedule. I can't believe they did this to Dallas. Like they've been traveling. They've gone to a different building for their next game for like 2 weeks straight, and they're still doing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing with Dallas here. So you can, well, looking future a little bit in the regular season. Well, maybe that's the team which is not making playoffs. So this is a playoff game. I mean, Canucks and Stars, 2 great goalies. Yeah, I can see the under here, but it's obviously hard to place unders in NHL, especially when it's minus. Well, it's 5.5. I don't play unders at all. I mean, only at 6 maybe. But yeah, it's a hard game to handicap. I mean, the first game was won by Canucks 6-3 early this year. So we know that Dallas. I mean, this is one of the games which Dallas could win. From this tough schedule. Well, they are actually now on a 3-game winning streak. So. This is their home game. Now they're going to go on the road. They might come actually, I think, like feeling too good about themselves maybe in this game. Stealing that last game. That was lucky. With Wedgwood in the net, he made some saves, and they will think that, oh, now we haven't got injured, mentality. That should be even more easier or whatever. But yeah, well, I think that the Canucks are the live dog here, definitely at this price. They had 2 hard games back-to-back against the Wild and Avalanche. So they managed to win against the Avalanche. Well, they lost against the Wild, right? But those are 2 great teams. They're going to come here with a normal pace. I think this is also the last game for them on the road trip, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, they're going to play one more game against the Blues after tomorrow, and then they're going to go home. But yeah, anyways, because of the price, I don't want to really play Dallas. I know they've been great team at home, but they are on a 3-game winning streak. And all those wins came like in OT and a very close game. So I think this will be another close game. And if I should pick the side, then I would go where's the plus money.
All right, good stuff. All right, Florida, Ottawa. We've got the Florida Panthers minus 270. Road favorite, 6.5 the total. I think we have a live dog here. I really do. This spot worries me big time for Florida. Why? Because they've got a huge game tomorrow night with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Sunday night hockey. Florida and Toronto. 2 teams that are, maybe going to see each other in the first round. And Toronto can still catch Florida, and that's a huge game coming up for them. And it's not like Florida's been invincible. They beat Montreal, but they had to work to beat Montreal 4-3. I mean, that was a close game. They shut out Anaheim 3-0. Before that, they lost to a depleted Vegas team. They lost to LA on their road trip as well. And this has been a long road trip for Florida so far. LA, San Jose, Vegas, Anaheim. Now they're in the east part of it, Montreal, and now Ottawa tonight, and then Toronto to wrap it up tomorrow night. And this is definitely a concerning spot for me. And look, Ottawa, we know they're a feisty group. We know that. They beat Winnipeg 5-2 in their last game. I know the issue with Ottawa is they can look good in one game, and then the next game they can look poor. And they've had issues stringing wins together lately, and they're coming off a win. So can they do it again is the question. But I want no part of Florida in this game, in this spot, at this price, because they've got Toronto on deck tomorrow night. That's the bigger game. That's the game that definitely means a lot more in the standings. And sometimes you can see situations where in these spots, the underdog rises up, especially an underdog, Vito, that plays as hard as Ottawa does. They play hard. The effort's always there. They don't always get the W. They don't always get the result. But even without Thomas Chabot, they miss him clearly. On the blue line, they've done a decent job surviving that. They're healthy up front again. That's the good news. They've got you've got everybody healthy again. Josh Norris, Connor Brown, Formanton, Colin White, Batherson, to go with Kachuk, Stützle. I mean, they've got everybody back now, Ottawa, up front. So to me, this could be a live home underdog, in my opinion. Certainly lean Ottawa. I'll probably have a small play Senators here. What do you think, Vito, Florida, Ottawa?
Yeah, well, only thing with this game, I remember last time these 2 played, Panthers were destroying Ottawa at home, 48 shots to 18. Yeah, so if Senators have some pride, they must remember this game a little bit. And yeah, well, Senators, they bring their game against strong teams, and we talk about that. They against Florida, they can make some hits like Senators. They will hit Florida, and they will bring their tough game, and they can definitely keep it close. I mean, but the other thing is why I'm not back since I think, well, they were on the small like a road trip. Well, 1-2 road trip. They won just now against the Jets. But yeah, well, I'm not really playing any wagers on this game, guys. If you just would like to hear my opinion, I think, yeah, Florida have the game tomorrow, and definitely this could be a look ahead spot. And just because Ottawa got last time demolished in Florida with that big difference in the shot count, I think if any normal team kind of remembers that, so they will bring definitely better effort here today. And that could make Panthers a little bit struggle if they don't come out fully focused, which might happen because they have game tomorrow against the Leafs. And one more thing, actually, Bobrovsky, he hasn't played for like 5 or games or even more. He's like projected today. I don't know if he plays today, but they've been running Spencer Knight for like 5 games.
They haven't said shit about what's bothering him. Brunette's not saying anything about what's been wrong with Bobrovsky.
Yeah,
but missed the last 5 games.
That's the thing. You'll see. Well, what I have heard from people, I just know that the whole beat thing, for example, for Stars. Also, nobody's saying anything, but his knee is like very bad, and I just know about Bobrovsky. Like I have read about that, and he has groin issues. So groin issues, they come back usually, And I don't think they're making it public now. I think they're saving Bobrovsky so he's healthy, so he doesn't get any groin issues in playoffs. So maybe something has come up with that for Bobrovsky. Let's hope he will be healthy.
That's always been an issue for him, staying healthy, and even to a lesser extent, his playoff performance as well. So keep an eye. We'll see. He's projected. Is he ready to return? If not, it'll be the Knight in shining armor, Spencer Knight, who's played actually better since his recent recall. Rejoining the Panthers. His latest stint with them has been better for sure. Toronto, Montreal, we've got Toronto minus 240, road favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Obviously, the Toronto Maple Leafs making a bunch of changes after the trade deadline, and so far so good, Vito. I like their game. What I've seen with the additions, with Colin Blackwell, with Mark Giordano, who they brought into the team at the deadline. They're going to get Jake Muzzin back pretty soon. Not tonight, but pretty soon on the blue line as well. And now Toronto's won 3 of their last 4, and the first game post-deadline was that New Jersey game. I thought they played a good game. 22 shots allowed. When's the last time Toronto's only given up 22 shots in a hockey game? And look, New Jersey can score, so you got to give the Leafs credit. The first look at this new lineup with Giordano on the back end and Blackwell, and then they're going to get Muzzin back soon. Maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope for a decent Toronto defensive hockey team. Maybe there's hope. But that's just one game. See if we can get that kind of performance from them here tonight against Montreal. Montreal coming off back-to-back losses at home to Boston and Florida. But again, good teams, and they were right in both of those games. They lost in OT to the Bruins, and they lost by 4-3 to Florida. This Montreal team continues to put up great effort. This might be a draw. I'm not looking to take Toronto here. I'm not looking necessarily to take Montreal, but maybe a draw is a possibility here between the Leafs and the Habs. We have seen 2 of the last 5 meetings go to overtime with these 2 teams, although they were both in the playoffs last year. Now, earlier this year, they've played twice. They've split. Toronto won the first meeting 2-1. Montreal won the game in Montreal by a score of 5-2. It is worth noting as well, Montreal's actually played Toronto pretty well in this building. So we'll see if that carries over. As crazy as it is to maybe suggest this, Toronto may be a value to the under with their game totals in the near future if they show that what they did against New Jersey is not a mirage, because that was an outstanding defensive effort, start to finish in that game from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Can they do that again? So I don't have a strong opinion here. Maybe, if anything, I'll small bet on the draw. I could see this being a close game because Montreal's playing even the very good teams very, very tough right now. What do you think here, Vito?
Yeah, well, I think one of the points is because they're playing the Shalgren in the net now. New goalie. They have to tighten up a little bit their defense.
Although it might be, Shalgren tonight. Even though Mrazek had one of his best games in a long time and got the win against New Jersey, it is back to Eric Shalgren tonight. Jake Allen from Montreal.
Yeah, so these 2 goalies definitely don't talk to me a lot. But yeah, that's why people maybe might think now to go and overseeing those goalies. But yeah, it always can stay under. And I mean, same thing like for Panthers. The Leafs also play Panthers tomorrow. So who knows? These Leafs team, yeah, they played a little bit better defense now. They have this Mark Giordano addition, which is huge, obviously. Okay, so yeah, last time they lost to Canadiens 5-2, so nobody likes to lose against Canadiens. So if Florida, if yeah, so I think Leafs today, they nobody loves to lose to Canadiens, as I said, so they should win today, but not really. I don't see the number here, which I would love to bet. Man, puck line is at like plus 100. Maybe that could be a look. Maybe I end up that playing, but I still cannot really trust till the end this Leafs team. But I think, well, if I do a little bit more research now before the game, I might up maybe playing puck line like something like that on Leafs today, even with, if they have Panthers tomorrow, because they're like a team which is very mentally psychology, I think, and since they lost the last time to Canadiens, I don't think they losing twice to Canadiens, So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Leafs like a puck line here.
All right, there you go. Leafs puck line. Columbus, Minnesota. We've got Minnesota minus 290. Home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. We'll see how it plays out here. We've got the I would lean to this game over the, like I say, I'm a broken record when it comes to Columbus, but I've talked about this repeatedly with them, that I think they're probably going to be one of those teams that ends up being a team that I bet a lot of. I already have bet a lot of overs with them, but I would certainly lean in that direction. The one concern is the obvious concern is this is expected to be the Minnesota Wild debut for Marc-Andre Fleury in net. That's probably that might be enough to shift me away from Columbus, Minnesota over 6.5 and go to the team total over for Minnesota, because I think they play their asses off tonight for Fleury. Everyone's excited. They brought him in. They want to make a good first impression. How do you ingratiate yourself to Marc-Andre Fleury? You play well defensively. You don't turn the puck over. You're structured in your own zone, and you let that fuel your effort tonight if you are the Minnesota Wild. So when I look at this game, obviously I have no interest of stepping in front of Minnesota. Obviously, they're minus 270 favorites. You got to get creative if you want to back them. I like first period puck line here on Minnesota. That's the value, in my opinion. You can get minus a half at a plus price. Minnesota Wild, I think they jumping. They're at home. They've got Marc-Andre Fleury in between the pipes for the very first time here tonight. I think it's a spot for sure where we can see the Minnesota Wild really jump out of the gate fast. Great start. Get the lead after the first 20 minutes. So I like minus a half, plus 125 first period puck line for the Minnesota Wild. And I'll also look at a team total over for the Wild as well. 3.5. You got to lay some juice, minus 150, but I think they get to 4 goals here as well against Columbus and get a victory in the debut of the Flower here in Minnesota. What do you think, Vito? Columbus and Minnesota?
Yeah, obviously exciting to see Fleury here in the new team with Wild. They have to play great in front of him, so they have confidence straight away from the beginning. I think the books have made unplayable this game at the moment for Wild. I mean, team total over 3.5 could be a look, just because, first of all, Columbus is on tougher schedule here. I mean, they first of all back-to-back. And now when it's, I think, end of the season, these back-to-backs on the road, they a little bit matter, So this will be a hard game for Jackets, I think, especially Wild with the new goalie. So, and the Jackets on a back-to-back, and they had overtime as well yesterday, which is even harder. They have to play even longer. They have to stay up longer. So, yeah, Wild is the rest of the team here. They play Avalanche tomorrow, which is one thing, which might be a small maybe look ahead, but I don't think it's a look ahead. They have enough hype today with Fleury in the net. I think they go out and get a victory for them. So if Puckline could be a play as well on Wild here, I think. Merzlikins, I think, is starting a back-to-back nights here for Wild. So
for the Jackets.
Yeah. I'm sorry, for Jackets. Yeah. Merzlikins starting on a back-to-back nights. He didn't play for some time before he played yesterday, I think. So
yeah.
Can he straight away put two? He played okay. He made some unbelievable saves as always. I mean, the Stastny where he had an empty net one-timer. I was actually on the Jets. I mean, again, Stastny had a nice chance, empty netter, and my Latvian guy steals the game there. And then, of course, a stupid call by ref on Morrissey, and Columbus scores 16 seconds left in the game, and it goes to OT. So, yeah, but in this spot, I don't think they can put up another, like, they somehow stole that game yesterday to not that 1 point. So, today, Wild with the new goalie, I think Puckline Wild is here. I think it's also like a plus 100. Let me check. Oh no, it's a little bit less, minus
Yeah.
like minus 115,
Yeah.
at least in my book. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think well, a team total or definitely Wild is the look here with the new goalie.
All right, there we go. Next up, we've got, as we continue along here, Carolina and St. Louis. It is Carolina minus 135, road favorites, 6 the total. It's two slumping teams, two teams we think can be pretty good. We know Carolina's pretty good, but right now they're not great. I mean, they're having a tough time. They're 1-4 their last. For the Blues are 1-4 their last 5 games. Carolina's 1-5 in their last 6 games. The only win was against Tampa, who are equally struggling right now. So both of these teams need a win right now. I got to lean Carolina, though. I still think Carolina is better than St. Louis. I do like Carolina a little bit here, minus 135 in this game. We don't know who's going to be in net for the Hurricanes yet, not confirmed. I would think it's Freddie Anderson. It's not a back-to-back for them. They don't play tomorrow, so I would expect him to be in net. Ville Husso has been confirmed in net for the Blues. And Ville Husso's hit a little bit of a wall. You got to worry a little bit. He's playing more games than they ever thought he would, and you're starting to see him take a step back, the last month or so. He right now, in his last 7 starts, Vito, 3-4, 3.15 goals against, 899 save percentage. Husso in the last 7 starts, not necessarily been nearly as sharp for the St. Louis Blues. Two teams that are struggling. It's a reasonable price to back Carolina here, minus 135. I'm going to go with the Hurricanes here. I just have more faith in them bouncing back right now than St. Louis. They're just all over the radar, the Blues right now. They got that win against Washington, but they also lost to Columbus. They lost to Pittsburgh, Winnipeg, Philly, 5-2 in that game. It was a horrible loss for the Blues. Obviously, they want to bounce back from that, but I just got a little more faith in Carolina right now. I lean Hurricanes minus 135. What do you like for your Vito?
I understand where you're going in, and I cannot tell anything bad about that because obviously you don't want to go with lucky teams, because I consider Blues as a little bit lucky team, and they're getting always outplayed by expected goals, and they're getting outplayed. I mean, they're slow starters, they're slow in the beginning, but they are good in special teams. They have their advantages, and with the Blues, this thing that they are still a great team. Well, they get up to these big games, and they know what Carolina means. And if we just look at the price, and I mean, season coming to an end, I think we have to look more also at the home teams. I think home teams now the home advantage start to be a little bit better because of all the fatigue, which somehow kicks in during all the season, which summers up the fatigue, everything, and I think at home it's just a little bit easier now to play at the end of the season. So I would take just Blues because of the plus 115 here. Obviously, Carolina is the better team. I think they're going to have more chances to score. But the Blues is this team which knows how to defend well. And at plus 115, I think they're a great live dog at home today.
All right.
They also need to bounce back. Nobody loves to lose against Philly at home, I mean. And that's a thing.
Shouldn't be happy with that. I definitely agree with that. All right, Edmonton, Calgary. We've got Battle of Alberta. Calgary minus 140, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this one. This is a good matchup, and we're going to see. To me, I think Edmonton is playing some damn good hockey right now, and it's not going to get noticed because they lost 2 games earlier this week. I thought they played very well against Colorado when they lost in OT. Even game. They made a couple of little mistakes. Someone stumbled at the blue line. It gave Colorado the chance to have that goal in OT. And then, of course, they have the couple of just bad giveaways, bad timing. Other than that, I thought they played well against Dallas. They lose 5-3. They bounced back, beat San Jose 5-2 in their last game. I think they give Calgary a game here. You look at the recent series history. Obviously, Calgary won earlier this month 3-1. I'm taking a shot here, Vito. I'm doing it. I'm taking Edmonton plus 120. I like Edmonton here. I know Calgary's playing well. Calgary's also on a back-to-back. Let's keep that in mind. I know it was Arizona. It's not like you played a really great team last night, but you still played a back-to-back. And now you got to play again. Edmonton's got a rest advantage going into this game. And I think their game, Edmonton, right now, is in a place, Vito, where they can go into this game and say, we can beat these guys. We've got a chance here. I know Calgary's been terrific, leading the division. They've had a great run, but we've seen Calgary have some bumps in the road. They haven't been perfect. They've actually exchanged wins and losses, Vito, their last 7 games. Win against Calgary, loss against Colorado. Win against New Jersey, loss against Buffalo. Win against Vancouver, loss against San Jose. They've kind of been a little more up and down lately, Calgary. I like Edmonton here. I'm going to take them plus 120. What do you like here, Vito?
Yeah, I like what Daryl Sutter said after the last one. He got asked, like, are you worried about your team? And he said, I'm not worried. I'm not getting traded. So, yeah, in this spot, I mean, this is the 4th last meeting between these two clubs. First 2 were won by Edmonton in Edmonton, and then Calgary won the last one. Yeah, and this is the last meeting. And the 4th game this week for Oilers, actually, and only 3rd game for Calgary. And we have seen Calgary playing well on back-to-back at homes. So, but yeah, minus 140 is definitely not the price I would love to back, because, yeah, these are 2 elite teams. Oilers is still a great team, I mean, they are still playoff caliber team. I know they need better defense and everything, and that struggles. I mean, but in the start of the season when they were on the run, everybody was amazed, like Hyman, and everything is good with Oilers and they are Stanley Cup contenders. And then they kind of slowed down. And now the price is plus 120 with Oilers. They're even with the rest, little bit. I don't know in the end what I want to play. We're gonna see Vladar, I think, for Flames, definitely Koskinen for Oilers. These 2 goalies, teams will want to play good in front of them. So you should see. Maybe this is a great game. Actually, we should also can bet live. It might be a little bit like a slow start, maybe and then you can jump on over. I think this game actually ends up going over because both last game went 3-1, and now the Flames will be on a back-to-back 4th game in this week for Oilers. Both teams have great scorers. I think that this game will go over today.
All right, liking the over. Yeah, I lean that way a little bit. It seems like when it's Edmonton, Calgary, too, you get some penalties as well. The teams don't like each other, so more power play opportunities. That obviously helps your chances when you bet an over for sure. Anaheim, San Jose. We've got San Jose minus 150, home favorite, 6 the total in this one. Vito, these are 2 blue lines, 2 defensive cores that I've been betting against lately. Anaheim, I think their defense sucks now. Without Manson and without Lindholm, who they traded, I don't think their defense is any good right now, the Anaheim Ducks. And I think the same thing about San Jose since they lost Jacob Middleton. He got traded to Minnesota. I said with these 2 teams, their defenses are going to suffer from who they traded away at the deadline. Great defensemen, great defenders in their own zone. Both of these teams lost significant contributors on the blue line, and we've seen the results. Anaheim can't keep the puck out of their net. San Jose can't keep the puck out of their net. In these 2 games. I like the over here. It's the obvious bet to me. 2 teams out of the mix, in my opinion. Anaheim's fallen out of the mix. I don't think they're getting back in it. We know San Jose's done. I think you're going to see goals here in bunches here. I don't trust either blue line. And the one thing you do still get from both of these teams, Vito, is offense. They're both still capable of scoring goals. We've seen that. Hell, we saw San Jose come back to beat Calgary and score 4 goals in that game. As long as you've got Tomas Hertl, Timo Meier, Couture, and guys like that, you're going to be able to score. Anaheim's got Terry Zegras and company. I think this game goes over the total. I don't trust either team to defend the other with any sort of proficiency tonight. What do you think here, Vito? Anaheim, San Jose.
Yeah, when these 2 teams played, I think I had over, and I got lucky in the end, in the 3rd period to cash it or something like that. Well, yeah, Ducks on an 8-game losing streak, I mean. So I can see them losing this one and then maybe grabbing the. Let's see. Ducks will play next game against. Someone is coming to play 2 games in Anaheim. I know. Let me check. So much.
Well, they're banged up too. A lot of injuries for Anaheim. Milano, Henrique, Zegras, and Terry are banged up, but Terry's going to play. Zegras is questionable tonight.
Yeah, so yeah, the Ducks gonna have 2 back-to-back games at home against Stars. That's the team which is coming in after this game. So I think Dallas could, Stars could. Oh my God, sorry, Ducks could win one of those games. Here, else Sharks. At the moment, I think Sharks is a little bit better team. And
Who's done the partying, Vito? Me or you? You sound like you've done more partying than me.
no, actually, it's a lot of just the game. Sometimes we miss with the words, but yeah, I would love to see this over at 5.5. To be honest, to bet it, because these both teams been struggling. I think they will need to find a victory here. I think they both know that they're capable of beating each other, and they will look for the victories here today. I can also see this a low scoring game. To be honest, so at the moment, no wagers for me in this spot. I'm definitely leaning Sharks. I think because Ducks just have lost 8 in a row. I can see them losing 9 in a row, and Sharks is playing a little bit now better. And overall, if you just look at the standings at the moment, even points for both of them, but Sharks are 2 games less. And I was checking this one. If Sharks win now 2 games, they will be 3 points from Vancouver. So yeah, well, they are all actually in the bottom. Well, in their minds, I think in professional athletes' mind, they are always in the race in all the playoffs still. Till it's like for Canadiens today, actually got announced. Canadiens is the first team which is out of the playoff race this year. So basically, theoretically, all the rest of the teams are in the race. And you have to pay attention to these teams which are in there, is Sharks and Ducks. I think this will be actually a tough game here today because Ducks definitely want to break the losing streak as well. So maybe it's, I'm leaning Sharks here more, but don't have any official place, and I'm not taking else over.
Yeah, I mean, the San Jose, actually, their effort has been pretty decent lately, and they definitely are healthier. You can't back Anaheim. They're depleted, and they're on this losing streak, but not at minus 150. Not at minus 150 for me with San Jose. There's better things to do with my money than lay minus 150 with the San Jose Sharks against anybody. So I like the over, though, in this game. I don't trust either defense. All right, next up, we've got Seattle and LA. Final game on this massive Saturday card. Los Angeles minus 210, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. LA, is one of those teams that also has had a lot of injuries lately. It seems like that's been the story across the league, but LA's been without Athanasiou and Dustin Brown and Doughty, Matt Roy and Sean Walker. They do have Victor Arvidsson back, though, and that's significant. It's good to see Victor Arvidsson back for the LA Kings. And we've seen LA, in spite of the injuries, they've done their best to cope with it. They beat Nashville 6-1. They'd lost in a shootout to Chicago, but coming off the loss, I think they've got a chance to bounce back here. The one issue I have is it's a rest advantage for Seattle, a significant one. They have not played since Tuesday when they beat Arizona, so that they are rested. I don't necessarily want to go against that kind of rest advantage. And LA is one of those teams too, Vito. Minus 184 favorite against San Jose, they lost. Minus 200 favorite last game against Chicago, they lost. They're just not. I like the Kings. They're going to be a playoff team. I like what I'm seeing defensively. They've been solid. They can score. The Kempe, Durzi's going to be a good one on the blue line, but Kempe, Iafallo, Velarde keeps getting better. Quentin Byfield is starting to pick it up now for the LA Kings. There's a lot to be excited about long term, but I'm not excited about laying minus 210 on the LA Kings. I'm just not. This is not the price range I love backing them. Simple as that. So I think LA will win. Maybe you can go in regulation if you like. Peterson and Quick have both been solid in net most of the season. Grubauer probably will be in net for Seattle. I think LA wins. I'm just not comfortable taking them at this price. Vito, what do you think here? Seattle, LA?
Well, LA, look, I think for them is as well target to get in the playoffs. They're in a good spot, second place in Pacific Division. And look, I like Athanasiou, and he's also out. He's very fast. I like his playing style. I mean, I think he's a big addition when he's in the roster. I mean, he makes the other team work, because he's always skating without the puck. Good teams skate without the puck, those teams win. Which make their open to the partners, so partner can actually pass. And Kings is a great team in this case. They have a very great game plan. They clog up you in the neutral zone. The only thing here is I will love them in playoffs, as you said, but right now I also have talked a lot about this big four for the Kings, which is Dustin Brown, Drew Doughty, Kopitar, and Quick. And 2 of the guys are out today, which is Brown and Doughty, So without those 2, when these few guys are missing from this big four for Kings, they tend to play worse little, So yeah, here with this price, I cannot back Kings. So simply, and also the first meeting was won by Kings 3-1 in Seattle. So maybe Seattle with some rest. You don't know what you can expect from Seattle. Now at the end of the season, these dogs, been playing a little bit better at some points. So yeah, because if Kings would be all healthy, definitely Kings here. But with this price, no. But yeah, one more thing, Philip Donald. I think well, as soon as that guy is healthy for Kings, also I like that guy. I mean, as soon he's when he's on the ice for second or third line in the center, he always brings an effort. He's a great player. And yeah, well, Arvidsson is getting back, as you said, but I don't think still that's enough. I think Seattle maybe have a little chance here tonight.
And they did trade away some key pieces, of course, at the deadline. Colin Blackwell, Mark Giordano, among others, traded away. A couple other guys as well that were traded prior to the deadline for Seattle. So they got a weaker lineup, a thinner lineup, but they're still playing hard. They are nightly. So you give Seattle credit. And look, sometimes with new players getting a new opportunity, like a Daniel Sprong, players like that. Cole Lind, he's going to get an increased opportunity on the second line. Carson Kuhlman as well for Seattle. Up front, Will Borgen is going to get more ice time on the blue line for Seattle. Sometimes opportunity makes you play well when you get the opportunity, and we'll see. Seattle's effort's been pretty good so far, even after the deadline. Great stuff, Vito. Awesome stuff. 12-game card. Before we wrap up with best bets, a reminder, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL. They have your shot to win big, too. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if they win. That's right, a bump in the win column for your team means free bets for you. DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet. You still have a shot to light the lamp. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Hockey Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NHL team. Get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings app. Sign up for an account. Use the promo code THPN. All right, best bets to wrap up this Saturday edition. Again, we thank Pub Sports Radio, Southtown 101 for producing, for letting me use the studio for the Ice Guys for the next 5 days. Vito, what do you like here for best bet?
Yep. I'm going to go with that Vegas Golden Knights. I know even with banged up roster and everything, I think they have played great last games. I mean, they didn't win a lot of games, but they put a lot of expected goals, a lot of scoring chances. I think they might find the back of the net here against this Blackhawks team here tonight. So give me Vegas in regulation. I think it's like -115 or -120.
All right, there you go, Vegas. Vegas has just been a different team at home at the Fortress there, T-Mobile Arena. We'll see if they can keep the home cooking going this afternoon against Chicago. Vegas in regulation for Vito with best bet. My best bet's going to be Jersey, Washington, over the total. Over 6, -120, -125 is still out there with the 6. It's moved to 6.5 in other spots. Shop around, but I like this total a lot. I think it gets there tonight. We'll see goals both ways. New Jersey and Washington over 6, -120, -125 for my best bet here on the Saturday NHL card. And that's a wrap for the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. Go over to Pub Sports Radio. Because we've got college basketball. We're doing net profit with me and my good friend Connor Mack. We will be in the house talking Elite 8 regional finals. Join us there. Again, thanks to everyone for joining us. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Vito, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on Sunday, same time, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.
games.